Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. We are brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center along with Cheer Athletics. Cheer Athletics is the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym, and they do such a fantastic job of taking care of kids and providing athletic and leadership opportunities. This is the only show in the metro area that focuses on the growth and development of said metro area. And so we're glad that you joined us. My co-host Trenton Maggott is on his way doing a special assignment this morning. And we're going to get into the news. And before we do that, I'm going to bring on our special guest that we have today. I'm going to introduce her a little bit early just for fun. And maybe she might even jump in a little bit with the news if she feels so inclined. But
I'm
Mayor,
full of news.
Yeah, Mayor Jean Stothert is here. Good morning, Mayor. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's good to have you here. And I looked up the last time you were on the show was back in March, and I suspect a few things have happened in Groma.
A lot has happened since then, so we have a lot to talk about.
All right. Well, I'm going to, before we get into some specific questions with the mayor, I do want to go through a few announcements that we have. And then during the news, if Mayor Stothert wants to jump in, we would certainly welcome her to do that. But first of all, big announcement. We have added a nonprofit news section to the Grow Omaha newsletter. If you don't get the Grow Omaha newsletter, you need to sign up for that. It comes out every Thursday afternoon. Mayor Stothert has told me that's where she gets a lot of her news.
I do.
From the newsletter.
From you. Yes, I do. More than at City Hall sometimes. So
which we love.
Keep up the good work. Yes.
If you want to get the same news source that the mayor reads, just send an email to news@growomaha.com. We added a nonprofit section to it, though. You know, we have all these news things, and Darcy Dingman-Willie is our writer for that, doing a great job. It debuted just this past Thursday. It'll be a regularly occurring section. The other thing I want to remind you, growomaha.com, check it every single day. You know, if you read the newspaper, you read this, or you check that, put it as part of your routine. Go to growomaha.com every day. We have new news on there all of the time. Want to let you know we have a restaurant review every 2 weeks. Chris Corey, our official restaurant reviewer of Grow Omaha, does a review. This week it was Sauced by Alfaro. Sauced, S-A-U-C-E-D. And it has something to do with the creamy stuff you put on food not getting sauced. But Sauced by Alfaro is in downtown Papillion. And the question Chris asks in the review is Sauced the best chicken sandwich in Omaha? You have to read the review in order to find out what he thinks. But first of all, let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. They're located at 114th and Davenport. They do a great job with taking care of home buyers. Doesn't matter whether you're going to go conventional loan, FHA, VA. They are not a bank. They're not beholden to a bank. So they can shop the market, find the best lending solution for you as you go and get your piece of the American dream. Give them a call. We're not going to give you the number because it's too hard to remember that. So instead, just go to eaglemortgagecompany.com. Okay, a couple of quick news items. And the first one is that the NU Board of Regents made a move in the last week for some improvements at the Med Center. It was an interlocal agreement between UNMC and the City of Omaha regarding the Midtown Medical Center Bikeway Connection Project. This is a dedicated bike trail that will be built along Emily and Jones Street between 39th and Saddle Creek Road. Hopefully you can picture that area in your head. A pedestrian bridge will be constructed over Saddle Creek Road, connecting the trail to the new Catalyst facility. That's the reuse of the old steel factory west of Saddle Creek. Another bridge will be built over Leavenworth to better connect the campus to the Field Club Trail. $15 million project funded by a combination of federal grants and local matches. Mayor Stothert, we'll get into a lot of things during your interview, but that's another example of the city and the Med Center working together, and another example of all of this connectivity we're trying to do in the urban core.
Absolutely, we are. And, you know, it's not just the Med Center, but we have so many great public-private partnerships right now, more than I think the city has ever had. And another great example is what happened with the Riverfront Park. That was a true public-private partnership. And look what we have down there now.
Setting records and attracting millions of people and an absolute smashing success. Well, a couple other quick news items we want to share with you today. First of all, Woodhouse Auto Group plans to build 2 new dealerships at West Dodge Point. That's just north of Village Point, kind of that auto mall area. The planning board this couple weeks ago or a week or two ago passed a major amendment to the West Dodge Point mixed-use development agreement. That's a mouthful right there, allowing automotive sales on land southeast of Burt and Old Lincoln Highway. So if you can picture Audi Omaha, it's right across the street from that. Going to be 2 dealership buildings totaling 45,000 square feet. The brands are Cadillac and Genesis. If you're not familiar with Genesis, that's the upscale brand from Hyundai. And then finally, we have a groundbreaking earlier this week for Treehouse. Treehouse is a mixed-use project on the West Broadway corridor of Council Bluffs at about 34th Street. Treehouse will have ultimately 221 apartment units, 34 townhomes, and 11,000 square feet of retail space. And before we take our first break of the hour, Trenton is back in from assignment. So what exactly were you researching this morning?
I was researching the well-spent dollars by the city of Omaha. Thank you, Mayor Stothert. 160. Well, first, I'm late because I left late.
I can't. Here, I provided you perfect cover.
I know, and I was waiting for a compliment.
But
yeah.
in all fairness, it was the tree cleanup along 168. There's road construction, but there's also tree cleanup. So they do the 2 stop signs and drive slow signs. Mm-hmm. So I honored that rather than driving over people.
We appreciate that. So the workers were getting rid of debris,
right.
and you got caught up in it.
And your bond issue on the street, on the streets, it's excellent. We're getting 4 lanes across Lake Zorinsky, and they're going fast.
That project is very expensive too. It's in the $40 million range because of the bridge. But Hawkins is doing it. They're doing an excellent job.
I tell people I live on an island.
That's what it's like.
But that one's getting close. I mean, that one. I think
it looks like it's ahead of schedule.
Is that by the end of the year? I think, isn't it?
Next year, I think.
It's next year,
okay.
yeah. But they're doing a great job. And I have to admit, I sent Public Works out to that stretch I made the request yesterday, just because
I was coming in.
There was so much debris, and then there was many weeds because of the rain. So, yeah, because you were coming in, I made sure they were doing
and
that.
It didn't work because I left late. Well, with Truth in advertising, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I teed him up a softball so he could carry on a lie and not admit that he came late and he did it anyway. That just shows you how much integrity.
That's why I'm not a politician. I'm too honest.
He's too honest.
Besides local, I'm talking about national, of course.
There we go.
He's too honest and he's too damn late. All right, at any rate, so we're going to take our first break of the hour. We have Mayor Jean Stothert with us. She was kind enough to jump in for the news section, but we're going to interview her for real when we come back. A lot of things on the discussion docket with the mayor: streetcar, urban core projects, downtown police and fire, city bond issues coming up in the November election, and more. So stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, along with Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beal sitting next to Trenton Magid. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center along with Cheer Athletics. And we are the only show in the metro area that focuses on business expansion, real estate, construction, economic development, fun things related to Omaha becoming bigger, more vibrant, and more prosperous. So want to remind everyone, if you unfortunately have a fender bender or a door dinger, make sure you give a call to Dingman's Collision Center. You don't even need to call them. You can just actually show up at one of their 4 metro area locations, but they do a fantastic job of taking care of your investment. And we know that cars are becoming bigger and bigger investments all the time, and you want to take good care of it, and Dingman's will do that with their 4 metro area locations. We have with us the mayor of Omaha, Jean Stothert, is in the studio, and we like to have the mayor here a few times a year just to kind of catch up with all sorts of economic development projects. And Mayor, let's just jump right into it. I want to talk transportation first, and the big story is the streetcar.
Streetcar.
Where are we right now? How's it coming?
Not meant to be a pun, but that train has left the station. That streetcar will happen. I get a lot of emails from people saying nobody wants the streetcar named Desire. Why are you doing this? Will you stop it? And you know what? Not everybody is against the streetcar. Many people are for it. The Urban Core Committee, which was developed several years ago, all the business leaders in the urban core downtown area were part of it. They released their strategic plan about a year ago. The number one most important component of that strategic plan was we needed a streetcar to move people in, around, and out of downtown. And Steve Jensen, former planning director, and I do about a 30-minute PowerPoint presentation on the streetcar. So far, we've given it to at least 3,500 people. And we can turn the most skeptical opponents into supporters when they just listen and understand why we're doing it, the benefit, and how we're paying for it. So, right now, I just have to say we've got all this great stuff going on downtown, new stuff. We have a ballpark, all this. We have new restaurants. We have the Luminarium, we have the riverfront parks. We have the Steel House. And yet there's not any easy way to get from one to another. You have to you go to the ball game, you get in your car, you pay. Then you want to go out to eat, you get in your car and you pay. Then you want to go to a bar, you get in your car and pay. And this will connect all of those venues downtown to make it easier to get around downtown. It's also important for people to know that you are not going to have a successful, vibrant city without a successful downtown and urban core. Right now, 50% of the urban core is dedicated to parking. 50, and at any given time, half of it is empty. That is not a good use of land in an urban core. Our goal in Urban Core Committee is to bring 30,000 more jobs and 30,000 residents into the urban core in 30 years. That's kind of what our goal is. And we can do that if we better control and manage how people can get in, move around, and park in the downtown area. Now, people will say it should have gone to a vote. It didn't need to go to a vote. There are a lot of things that we do within city government that don't need to go to a vote of the people. And all the votes that I needed were already done by the city council and by the streetcar authority. So those votes are done. An example, we didn't put the ballpark downtown to a vote of the people. We didn't put the riverfront parks to a vote of the people, or the Dodge Expressway, or the Luminarium, or I could name all sorts of projects that the city has done that did not go to a vote of the people. So not everything has to go to a vote. But the streetcar is on schedule. It's probably not, we originally said it would start running in 2026. It's probably 2027 now. The streetcars, the 6 cars are being ordered, a company out of Spain. We have evaluated and reevaluated the design, working with HDR, Kiewit with that. We are about 90% now. We knew in the beginning we were using the number of about $306 million. We knew it would be more because when we were saying that's our first estimate of the cost, we didn't even have a design done yet, and we didn't know what the utilities would cost. Right now, we are at a cost of about $389 million. For the actual construction of the streetcar, originally it was about around 180 million, and now the actual construction of the streetcar is 206 million. That's the construction, 206. So the construction of the streetcar itself hasn't gone up a lot. It's the utilities that have gone up. For example, MUD in the beginning estimated about 10 million. They're over 40 million now for utilities. So, but all in all, we are paying for it with the value of the development that occurs along the route. And this is important to know. We had a company called Municap come in and evaluate every parcel along the route. They were here for 9 months, and they gave us a conservative estimate of what value would be generated by development along the route. And they first estimated that in the first 15 years, it would be $1.3 billion worth of development in first 15 years, which would generate around $600 million, much more needed to pay for the streetcar, for them the construction.
Which is free for the riders.
Right, which is free. Right now, by the end of this year, 2024, we already have $1.3 billion in new development. And they said $2 billion in 15 years. We have $1.3 billion by the end of this year of new development along the route. And I will tell you, I have a lot more to announce coming up with the developers really,
In the
really
next 15
soon.
minutes.
Yeah. And you know what? It's really successful before the construction has even begun. So we know it will be successful. We know that we will have enough money to pay for it. The only people that will be paying for the streetcar are revenue-producing commercial property along the route. Revenue-producing commercial property. No single family, no duplexes. There will be some multifamily, of course, along the route, but no new taxes, no increase in property taxes. I think we sitting here, us three live more out mid or west Omaha. Yeah. We won't be paying for the streetcar, but we could sure use it. And it's free to use. So the streetcar is going to be a great development to and benefit to our urban core and Midtown, because, it's going to go up to Midtown. People ask me all the time, they said, well, I live in Millard. Like I live in Millard. I won't use the streetcar. Why would I need the streetcar? But the city of Omaha is going to purchase the 3 garages at Midtown that Mutual of Omaha owns now. We're going to purchase those, own, and operate them. We build garages and purchase garages a lot because we pay for them with the revenue they produce. They're revenue producing. We're going to buy those. So what I can do is I can drive my car from Millard. I could park at Midtown. I could park in one of the city-owned garages for a low amount. I could hop on the streetcar there, and I could do everything I want to do in the urban core with the streetcar, jumping on and off of it for no cost to me at all, and then go back and get in my car. So there's a great benefit to all of us for the streetcar.
And until then, and probably after then, the Omaha Park, the parking meters, the $1 per hour, and like if it's at 9 o'clock, it stops. It's free on Sunday or whatever. I love that app, by the way, and it's really working.
Mobile Omaha. It's a great app. And that's another thing we did. We have a parking division now. I've done that since I have been mayor, and it's an enterprise. And so all of the revenue from our parking enterprise, for the parking garages, the meters, and now their kiosk, basically, it goes back into parking so we can upgrade our garages and improve our system. But what we wanted downtown is not to have meters, not to have to give people citations and tickets, and not to have areas that we restrict the amount of hours you can park. There used to be 1 hour parking, 2 hour parking. Now there's all you do, you park there, you put your money in a kiosk, or you use the mobile app. And if it's, say, the first 2 hours, if it's a high turnover area, you might be charged a certain amount. And if you stay there longer, you're not going to get a ticket. You're just going to be charged more.
That's
and
cool.
So the whole system is to turn parking over quicker and make it more convenient for people, and less tickets, too, less citations.
No, it's operating well.
Yes.
Okay, so Mayor, I have to bring this up because you had mentioned 11 projects in the urban core a few months ago, and then just a few minutes ago you said you have some other things to bring up that would be in addition to that bigger than expected $1.3 billion worth of investment already that has been announced. We know you can't spill the beans and say what they are on the air right now on KFAB.
Maybe what they rhyme with.
Yeah.
And starting letter and ending letter.
Yeah.
But we could at least ask you this. What can you tell us about those 11 projects in macro? What can you tell us broadly about them? What should we get excited about?
Obviously there's a lot to get excited about. And some of these projects we've already announced. Obviously, one of them is Central Park Plaza. And I think it's worth saying that is about, and everybody knows what the two towers, the duo, it's going to be called, where Sullivan's is at the base at the end of the Gene Leahy Mall. That's about 75% vacant now, soon to be 100% vacant. It was purchased by Todd Hested. He is turning it into over 700 apartments. We're going to tear down an old vacant garage. We're going to build a new garage in that area, but he's going to make use of other parking in that area. But the only way he could do this is because of the streetcar.
And putting apartments above the garage.
And they have TIF for that development, which we give. But if there is new development, this is something else about the streetcar, along the streetcar line, and these developers are more than happy to do this because they benefit so much from the streetcar. 25% of their TIF for the first 15 years goes to the streetcar. The last 5 years, 100%. Because they truly, if you think about Todd Hested at the Duo, you think that usually when you build apartments, you kind of look at the area within so many blocks. You guys know this better than I do about who their customers will be, but it broadens who his customers will be because now he has the whole streetcar line. And so that project is just an example of what is happening because of the streetcar. But others, we named with this $1.3 billion of new development. We've already named some of the projects, but there are others coming. And it goes from Midtown, it goes all the way to downtown. I will say one that we will be announcing soon, and I can't wait to do it, is what is going to happen with Mutual's old property at Midtown.
Oh, really? So
and that's coming up soon. And this is going to be something that I think is going to excite people and thrill people.
Is that one developer or multi-developers?
It would be Lanahaw.
Wow, so they're going to do the whole thing.
And it may be done in phases. But it is you two are looking at each other. I wish people could see this. You're like, ooh, this is exciting.
Trenton's like trying to be like, what?
Congratulations, Lanahaw. That's so exciting.
It's going to be great, and we're going to be announcing some things soon with that project around the Blackstone area, the old WWT site. By the Blackstone.
Yeah, we know what that is. That's
We've
exciting.
got something that we're going to be announcing soon there. So there's just a lot of excitement about, and Todd Hestead, again, if people are familiar with downtown, for example, Farnham, it would be just west of 19th Street. He owns a lot of those surface garages, which would be just west of Wells Fargo. He owns those, and now he's going to be building apartments there, and he's going to be able to build a lot taller apartments because of the streetcar.
Well, we're talking with Omaha Mayor Jean Stothert, and we have her for another segment. So, going to break for the middle of the show news. Listen to that, get your weather update, and then get ready because there's more to come with the Mayor of Omaha. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center along with Cheer Athletics. And it is time for our Noddle Companies Commercial Development Spotlight of the Week. Noddle Companies based right here in Omaha, doing amazing developments around the country, but here in town, marquee blockbuster developments like Exarban Village, the Builders District in North Downtown, and they were also involved in creating River's Edge. And we've got a news item today coming from River's Edge. We're making some progress there with the anticipated construction of the Adventure Tower and related amenities on the Council Bluffs riverfront. This would be right north of the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge. Just recently, Southwest Iowa Nonprofit for Collective Impact, that's a mouthful, along with the City of Council Bluffs, were awarded a nearly $5 million Destination Iowa grant for the project. That'll contribute. Now, construction is on hold, though, until issuance of a permit from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The City of Council Bluffs anticipates that issuance early September, so keep your fingers crossed. And then after that, construction can follow soon after.
Those plans look really cool. Is it still Mid-American Tower, they're calling it?
That's what I believe the name of it.
They have some kind of a ride that you like ride these steel rails. I'm sure you're tied in somehow.
Yeah, and I put a request in for you to be the very first rider.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, crash test dummy.
And that is your Noddle Companies Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week. You can learn more about Noddle Companies by going to the website, which is noddlecompanies.com. They also have some pretty active Facebook pages, and we appreciate Noddle Companies' contribution to the show. We have the mayor of Omaha on with us today. And, Mayor, one of the big topics we're curious about is this downtown police and fire construction. And we understand it's actually two separate projects that we're talking about, the actual stations and a future headquarters.
That is correct. And it's a little confusing, and hopefully we have a bond issue campaign that will be starting because, we have a bond issue that is coming out on the ballot in November. And what we are doing downtown with the new precinct and the fire station will be on that bond issue. So there'll be a campaign to make sure people are fully aware. We have been talking about a new combined police and fire headquarter building, a public safety headquarter building. This is not it. We are in design for that. We don't have a site for that combined headquarter yet. We don't know how we're going to pay for it. So we're moving towards it, but this is not it. What this is basically preparing for that. and saying that if we do have a new fire and police combined public safety headquarters somewhere, hopefully in the urban core, that we will, number one, we will need a new police precinct downtown because of all the development downtown. You know, we've always had 4 precincts. I added a 5th out in Elkhorn, but I believe we will need a 6th precinct to stay downtown. And then we will also need a place because we will end up demoing the old police headquarters and the fire station down there. We will need a place for fire to dispatch downtown. You can't do away with fire dispatching from downtown with all the construction and building going on. So what we decided would be a good thing to do would be to combine those 2 facilities and have a new police precinct and then basically a fire station they could dispatch from together downtown. This is what is on as far as the bond issue goes. This is not a combined public safety headquarters. That will be somewhere else.
Is there a location for that?
For the headquarter or for the
bond issue?
We have a preferred location, but we haven't settled on it quite yet. So we do have that. But the bond issue that is going to be on the ballot, we do this usually every 4 to 5 years. It's only been 2 years since the last one, but there are 5 types of bonds that we put out for a bond issue. They are public safety, public facility, street bonds, sewer bonds, and park bonds. And we schedule those so when we put them out for a vote, they do not raise taxes. And we are going to be very clear that these bonds, we have what they will be paying for on the bond issue, but it will not raise taxes. How do we do that? We refinance some of our current bonds and pay them off early, some of our current bonds. So you can vote on these and they will not raise your taxes. Now, I do have people that will always come to me and say, but however, Mayor, you're not pulling anything over on me. If I vote no on this, my taxes will go down. That is not true at all, because these are things we are obligated to do. Again, these are our parks, our roads, our streets, our sewers, our water treatment plants. All of these things are in this bond issue, and we are still obligated to do those. So if the bond issue wouldn't pass, we would be pay as you go, and we would need more money. And we might potentially have to raise taxes. So these things are really a good positive thing to vote for and vote yes on, and they will not increase your taxes. But voting no won't decrease your taxes either.
Part of that bond issue is for expansion of CHI Health Center Omaha.
Yes.
The convention center side.
That's great.
On the east of the building. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I certainly can. And that would go under the public facility bonds. And there's $146 million of those. The total bond issue is $330 million. But again, it won't raise taxes because we're already paying the bond debt. The public facility bond comes to 146. There's $100 million marked in there for the expansion of CHI. Now, keep in mind that is a city-owned facility. It will be paid off completely in a couple years. In 2026, that will be paid off. We pay about $20 million a year in debt on that arena convention center.
Revenue producing.
But it is wildly successful. The arena side, Creighton basketball, all the concerts we have. The convention side is what we're concerned about because we are losing out on a whole different level of conventions that we could get into Omaha that brings a tremendous amount of revenue into our city in sales tax, but we don't have the meeting rooms at all. And so what this extension will do, and it will go out the back, a lot of the extension will go where people don't usually see it because it's over the loading docks towards the river. That's where the expansion will happen. And it will more than double the number of meeting rooms. And so it will basically just open up to a whole different level of conventions we can have. Now, along with that, we will need a new hotel down there by the convention center. But when we are expanding the convention center, there will be a lot of hotel businesses that will want to build their hotel. This will not be a city-built, city-owned hotel. Some other company will build a hotel down there, and hopefully we could get it connected with a skywalk over to the convention center.
And Roger Dixon, if you're listening, a little less country and a lot more rock and roll.
That's the arena side of the facility.
I know it. But they
a lot of country out there, ladies and gentlemen.
I went and saw Barry Manilow a couple weeks ago, and that one was great. I mean, they have some really good things there. But, the transportation bonds, we continue on our major street works. Those are on the bond issue. There's $10 million public safety bonds in there. Our street preservation bonds, that was the bond issue we passed in May of 2020, the $200 million. million. That continues with this bond issue. Environmental, those are sewer bonds. Those are all important things that are part of our infrastructure. And then, of course, there's Parks and Rec at $10 million for parks, and that's just to keep our parks up.
I want to give kudos to Dave Fanslaw and your planning staff and the planning board. They all do a great job.
I tell you,
I used to work with Dave Fanslaw when I was on the planning board.
Fanslaw is the best. I mean, I was the one that hired him as our planning director. He was one of the assistants. I met him first when I was on city council. I liked the way he worked. And I always told him this. He had that ability to tell people no, which sometimes planning does, but he would always come back and say, but I'm going to help you find out a way to get this done. Yeah. He had a way of saying no, but still getting things done. I really like working with Fanslaw.
We have just another minute or so with the mayor, and I want to work this one in before we let you go. Gene, Union Omaha's new soccer stadium is planned for the riverfront area, a big grassy area northeast of the Gallup headquarters. Can you talk to us a little bit about where that project is at this point in time?
Sure, it's moving along. I did the announcement with them several months ago with Gary Green, who owns Alliance Sports.
He's been great for Omaha.
He has been great for Omaha. They're going to build about a $300 million project there. The actual soccer stadium is about $60 million, but around that area it's on the Gallup campus, about 16 acres of mixed-use project there along Abbott Drive there. And so a $60 million soccer stadium, there will be apartments there. There'll be a plaza there where people can, walk across the street, get something to eat. There'll be the soccer stadium itself is about 7,000 seats. The housing they want to build in that area is about 330 residential. There'll be a lot of retail space in that area, too, and a hotel. They want to have a hotel there.
And that could lead the streetcar to be expanded that way towards the airport.
And plans are, we already, back to the streetcar, we already applied for a federal grant. We're not using any federal money at this initial route of the streetcar, but we already applied for a planning grant and received it to bring the streetcar north up more towards the airport. And this will help the soccer stadium. But it's on track and it's moving forward.
Well, Mayor, I wish we had more time because there were other things to ask you, but this always happens.
I know. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back in a few months if you're game.
I would love to. There's stuff at Levi Carter Park. I mean, that all sorts of good stuff is going on, developed in Northeast Omaha there. So there's a lot to talk about.
All right, we'll have her back, folks. Mayor Jean Stothert giving us an update about Omaha growth and development. We're going to take our final break of the hour, and when we come back, it'll be the Perkins-Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, in which we have a lot of things to share with you. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. It's time for your Perkins-Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, in which we talk about a lot of things in a very short period of time. Thanks to Perkins-Kreitzer Construction for making it possible sponsoring this segment. They are a full-service Class A general contractor. They work here in Omaha, and they really extend out to the region. Years and years of experience. Our friend Dave Kreitzer runs PC Construction, and a lot of times we talk about certain projects they do. They'll do big things like office buildings and retail centers and churches and schools and this sort of thing. And then they'll do smaller things like building out retail spaces and restaurants. So they do it all. Very diverse, wide-ranging general contractor. Services include cost estimating and pre-construction, general contracting, construction management, and design build services. Perkins-Kreitzer Construction, your sponsor of this section. First up on the docket, Napoli's, a new authentic Italian restaurant, is coming soon to Council Bluffs, I'll just say 157 West Broadway in downtown Council Bluffs in the former Lincoln's Pub location. Traditional Italian restaurant, should be pretty exciting place to try. Hey J Coffee, a drive-through coffee shop, will close its Midtown location at 1416 North Saddle Creek on August 18th, which is tomorrow. The business is then moving to the Bennington area, 8001 North 157th Street, where it will introduce an updated concept featuring a full coffee and cafe restaurant menu. Official opening date has yet to be announced. We have the Dandelion, not the Dandelion, the Dandelion, an upscale bar and lounge opened last week in West Omaha at 154th and Ruggles Street. That's near 156th and Maple, next to Porky Butts. Now, when you say Porky Butts, everyone knows where it is. Trent and I can speak that language. The business renovated the former Retro Rewind. Trenton, you got a special deal to tell us about.
Absolutely. I'm very excited for Ray Anderson Jr. and his whole family and extended business family that the Anderson Auto Care, which was on Q Street, is moving to just north of Old L at 4526 South 139th Street. This is the old Anderson with an E. They're an O. Anderson with an E electric building. They've taken it. They've made it their own. They painted it and put a lot of money into that. So anybody that's looking for mechanical work, check out Anderson Auto Care because they will treat you right.
We have a couple of new retailers at the Westroads. Squishable, yeah, you heard that right. Squishable has opened its first Nebraska or Iowa location inside the mall. This national brand retailer sells toy merchandise meant to be squeezed, hugged, and squished.
I hope they have big T-shirts I can wear.
The company's website says over the last decade and a half, we have released millions of Squishables to their new homes in the wild. Based in New York City, 34 locations in 23 states. Also at the Westroads, Marcel, a men's formal wear store, plans to open in early September at Westroads. This locally owned retailer will be located on the first floor between DSW and Journeys. They talk about on their signage, European style and couture. Couture. Good for you, doing. You're one of those highfalutin guys. Cruisin' Cones, a Gretna-based ice cream shop, has rebranded as Glazed and Raised, effective last week. The new name reflects the shop's focus on creating high-quality donuts and enhancing the everyday donut experience. You can find it's an online business, so just look for Glazed and Raised on Facebook.
Sugar consumption in this city has really grown over the years, it sounds like.
Amen. Pen and Dagger, new indie bookstore in La Vista, will open soon in La Vista City Center. The actual address is 7861 Main Street. The business will offer a range of new and classic books across popular genres with a focus on science fiction, fantasy, and literary fiction. Soft opening is planned for mid-October with full opening later in the month of October. The music is playing, which means that we're done. And that's sad because we always have more to talk to you about than we have time, so you'll have to come back next week for everything else. In the meantime, I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggot.
You've been listening to our Grow Omaha radio show, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, Cheer Athletics, and Perkins Kreitzer Construction. We'll chat with you next week right here at 9 o'clock on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.